Happy week 11, everybody. Welcome into the BettingPros live NFL chat. Pat Fitzmaurice, Matt Perrault with you guys back for another week as we roll through all the games that will take place today. Boy, this is an interesting slate, Pat. How are you? Welcome to the program. This is going to be one of those days where, like, as a gambler, you're like, wow, I got to find how many plays today. What's up? How are you looking at week 11 here in the NFL?
Hey, Matt. Yeah, interesting is a good way to describe the slate for sure. And I'm glad we have the ability to bet on these games and spice up the Sunday slate. Because honestly, I mean, look, we're not getting Eagles Chiefs until Monday night, which is going to be a fantastic game. We had a good matchup, Bengals Ravens, a little depressing the result, but we had two really good teams there, and yeah, that just leaves us with like not a lot of great matchups on our menu for Sunday, but that's okay. We can bet on these games and spice things up a bit.
All right, let's get right to it here. The first game, Pittsburgh and Cleveland. So on my other program, we had this running gag of which game would score more points, Iowa, Illinois, or Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Iowa, Illinois scored 28 points. 15-13 was the final. I'll ask you this question. The total right now is sitting at a whopping 34.5. It's actually gone up here for this game. Do they get more than 28 points scored in Cleveland versus Pittsburgh today?
I think they do, Matt. But yeah, interesting you compared this to an Iowa college football game because that's the first thing I thought of once we got the news that do we know why this has jumped from a low of 33 at some point? Like why the sudden enthusiasm for these two offenses? Because like I thought 33 was pretty spot on. Like I'm very tempted to take the under here. I haven't done it yet, but I think under is probably the better percentage play at 34.5 than.
Yeah, my friends at the South Point here in Las Vegas are testing the waters going to 35, and they tend to go fast and go first when it comes to professional money that comes in and money that they respect. So I'll be curious. I'm with you. I mean, let this thing climb. It opened at 38, and then we heard the Watson news, and it dropped all the way down to 33, and now it's creeping back up here, 34.5, 35. You may get 35.5. I mean, I joke around. I'm like, key numbers with totals is like 44, 45. Like you can't tell me a key number is 33 or 34. There's just no such thing. And it's just too darn low to be a key number in the NFL. I mean, 20-14, we're going over, which is ridiculous for 33. So this is a very difficult number, I think, to project. But the 2.5, it was 4.5. It went all the way down to 2. It's creeped back up here a little bit with Cleveland. Do you agree that the Browns should be the side here?
Hard to agree with that with Dorian Thompson-Robinson and how over his head he looked when he had to make a start for them in week 4. And I do realize that was on extremely short notice at the time. So the kids had a little bit more time to prepare for this one. But man, like that Steelers pass rush, TJ Watt and company, I feel like they're going to give him all sorts of trouble. So yeah, I mean, I know the Steelers have been outgained in every single game they played this year, and they've been outscored by 26 points in the season, and they have no business being 6-3. But like, I do feel like they should be favored in this game. So, or at worst, to pick them.
Right. So I teased this. I mean, I said, look, I got 2.5. I went up to 8.5 last night, and I was like, look, you want to give me 8.5 points in a game with a total of 34? I don't really care who's playing. I know that defense is going to show up. I know I've got a really weak quarterback playing for Cleveland. And we know what the game plan is going to be. Stack the line, stop the run, make DTR throw, and then try to cause mistakes. Get TJ Watt in a long, 3rd and 7 and longer, and let that pass rush go to work and cause turnovers and cause havoc. So, look, the Browns might win this game, but I can't back the Browns, and I think the Steelers should win the game outright. So, like, I'm taking 8.5. This is the first leg of my own teaser. I'll get the other side here in a second, but I don't know. I'm almost tempted to take 2.5. You give me 3. I don't think I'm going to get it because I think the pros would come on the Steelers pretty heavy if they got to 3. But divisional matchup, yeah, I know it's the Browns and they're at home and their defense and the metrics and everything that says how great that defense is for Cleveland. I understand all that. The Ravens also put up a lot of points on that same defense. So they can be had if you have the right game plan and the right opportunities. Not saying that Kenny Pickett's the guy that's going to do that. He's not Lamar Jackson, but I'd be careful just, saying the Browns are going to run away with this game, right?
Yeah, I mean, how about a teaser with the under in this, teasing this over 40, playing the under and playing the Steelers? I think that's
Same game.
the best way to play this. Yeah.
I like a same game. Yeah, I'm always into same game teasers. Sure. Yeah, and you can go. Okay, just moved back down. DraftKings just moved. They're the only 2.5 on the board, and it's gone. So we're going the other way here. So if you want to do that, I would get 8. I mean, 8 is a key number, obviously. So I would get 8 and go +8, and then tease it up to 4. Yeah, but basically, you South Point's at 35, 34.5. You can go 40.5 and go under. Yeah, I like that a lot. Arizona and Houston. I love CJ Stroud, but I am not subscribing to the idea that CJ Stroud is a MVP candidate just about yet here with the NFL. Where are you on this one? Because a lot of people are fading every week. The Cardinals, fade them in survivors.
Yeah, they're not on my fade list anymore in Survivor Pool with Kyler Murray back. Like, I do think he makes them more dangerous on offense, and we saw that his mobility was not limited at all last week with post knee surgery. He looked fine. So I don't know, Matt. I think this is pretty spot on at 5.5 and 48. Like, this is one of the most fun games on the slate, and I kind of want to just watch this one. Like, I've not been drawn to any side of this. Don't want to bet the total. I think the lines are really tight on this one. What about you?
I've put a complete line through this game. I'm with you. I think the Cardinals, there's no reason for the Cardinals to tank. Like, if you look at the roster and look at what they've got, too much money wrapped up in Kyler Murray. Now, everyone wants a high draft pick, but they don't need to have the first or second or third pick here. So to me, it's about developing the young talent that you have, a first-year head coach, and try to figure out where you're going to go in the coming years versus we got to be bad right now. So they're incentivized to win, and that scares me because I think you have to look at the teams that are really bad, like the Patriots and teams like that would be incentivized. The Panthers, they need to lose, get the best pick because they got to restart the whole thing. I'm not into fading the Cardinals at all. I wasn't last week. I'm not this week. With James Conner and with Kyler Murray being back, I would lean towards the dog, to be quite honest. If you're giving me 5.5 points, I love the Texans. I don't think I'm comfortable laying 5.5 points with Houston, just given the inconsistencies of that young football team. And are they reading their press clippings? Are they thinking like, ooh, here we are? Because they're in the mix to win the division. Like, they're playing really, really well. So how good are they? I'd be concerned. The biggest pros versus Joes game of the day. The Green Bay Packers are at home against the LA Chargers. The number is 3. The total is 44. These numbers haven't moved, Pat. These have been like cemented down. They've not moved all week. It's a perfect number. They got two-way action. The public's all on the Chargers. The pros are all on the Packers. Who do you like today? Packers, Chargers.
Oh man, so that's the thing. I'm not loving either side of this one. I do think, the Packers as a home dog in Lambeau Field, especially, it might be, the weather's not too bad here today, but it might be a little bit nippy for a Southern California team going up to Green Bay. But I just don't want to bet on the Packers, even as a home dog, Matt. Like, they've got problems on offense. They've got problems on defense. And what I kind of like in this game is the over. I mean, the Packers rank 23rd in defensive DVOA, and the Chargers are 27th. Like, I do think we're going to see a little bit of scoring today, even though I realize the Chargers are down some weapons. They don't have Josh Palmer. They don't even have Jalen
Mike Williams.
Guyton. I don't think Mike Williams. Yeah. So still, I think we're going to see some scoring in this one. So the total 44 seems kind of low to me. I feel like that should be a couple points higher.
And weather is not, there shouldn't be any issue. Everyone's saying that it's going to be balmy, but that means that the Chargers will score, but it also could mean the Chargers give up a bunch of points to the Packers as well. I don't know what to do with this game. I could see a tease. You could take the Packers up to 9, and that'd probably be the only way I'd really want to get into this game. This does qualify for a Wong teaser, so I am kind of eyeballing that a little bit because I don't think the Chargers go in there and win by 10 points. Do you?
No.
So that's why I'm kind of like 9 may be the number that I get with Green Bay that I'm comfortable taking, just because it's when the pros all go one way and the public goes another way, I'll tend to look to go and be on the book side and be on the pro side. But man, it's Jordan Love. It's still not
exactly.
The cringe game of the day, the Washington Commanders. You want to talk about the number one survivor pick of the day? This is it. Commanders are getting everyone's attention, at least here in Vegas from a survivor perspective. South Point's all the way up to 9 now here, 8.5 at most books, 39 from a total perspective. The Giants, I was talking to somebody a couple days ago who does power ratings, and they said that this is the lowest team in their career of ranking NFL teams power rating wise. The Giants are the worst team they've ever seen. They're last in offensive line. They're last in quarterback. They're last in wide receiver talent. Can they keep this game close? Any chance Washington loses?
Man, I don't think so. But what scares me is that, like, I have no faith in the Washington defense and the fire sale they had with their pass rushers, how flammable their cornerbacks have been this year. But like, it's Tommy DeVito, an undrafted rookie free agent who's probably, a CFL caliber talent. And man, like we're looking at the Giants having an implied total, Matt, of like 14.5, 15, depending on what sort of number you're getting on the over under. Like, hard to argue that that's like too low,
right?
So I don't think they have much chance to win this game outright. But man, like I also don't have a great deal of confidence in the Commanders to cover a big number.
No.
So yeah, I'm just staying away from this one. Like you said, I mean, this is the cringe game of the week without question.
If you want to tease this down, I guess you can. If you want to take it to 3, I mean, the books, some books like South Point, they've gone to 9 because of the teasers. Everyone's teasing it down to 3, and everyone's thinking the Commanders are going to win. I have a rule with Survivor that I never take games that involve divisional opponents because really odd and crazy things happen when you talk about divisional opponents. And everything says Commanders, Commanders, Commanders. Okay. Giants can win the game and blow up everything else. And it worries me to that point. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's happened before where teams have no business win against a divisional team because you've seen them so many times over the years. The game that I can't wait to watch in the early window. Well, there's 2 of them, but the first one is Tennessee against Jacksonville. I got a prop in this game, but it's 6.5 for Jacksonville, opened at 5.5. Total's been pretty consistent at either 40 or 40.5 in this one. The reason why I want to watch this, Pat, is because I really like the Jaguars. I liked them in August. I thought they'd be in the AFC Championship game, and then they got off to a very rocky start. Then they rose up and looked like the team I thought they were going to be, and then they got their lunch handed to them last week. Which team is it? Are they good? Are they bad? Can they beat the Titans, who are a cover machine, when they're this big of a dog?
That's what scares me, Matt. I do think the Jaguars are good. I don't know if they're Super Bowl caliber good. And that's the thing. Like, I'm not giving this many points to a Mike Vrabel team unless I think the favorite is capable of winning the Super Bowl. I do not think the Jags are capable of winning the Super Bowl. So I'm just kind of staying away from this one.
Yeah, this is one of those, it fits into a Wong teaser if you want to pull Jacksonville down to 6. To 0.5 point from 6.5 down to 0.5 point. But again, this is one of those games that scares the holy heck out of me. I'm like, man, I don't know. Like I'm very concerned about Tennessee going to Jacksonville and winning. That's why I want to watch it, because I do think there could be some really interesting value here. The Chicago-Detroit game, Justin Fields is playing. Does that change things at all for you that Chicago gets their quarterback back?
Oh, I think so. Definitely. We saw Fields look pretty good as a passer before he got hurt, like much better than last year. This has been a functional Bears passing game with Fields in the lineup.
Right.
And we're talking about a Lions defense, Matt, that gave up 38 points to the Chargers last week. That gave up 38 points to the Ravens a couple weeks ago. They've sprung a few leaks here, especially with the pass defense. Their run defense has been pretty tough all year. So that's the other angle on this one, Matt. Like the Bears defense, I think, is actually kind of sneaky good. They don't have much of a pass rush, although Montez Sweat helps remedy that a little bit. But like, they have been one of the toughest teams to run on in the league. Like, quietly, I think they've got a top 5 run defense. Opposing running backs are averaging 3.1 per carry against them. So I think the total looks a little too tall here. I think the under is a pretty good play. Mm-hmm. And I'm also playing the Bears in this one. Like, I think the Bears are a little bit undervalued. The Lions could absolutely smoke them in this game, especially, coming off a game where they had some issues and just barely escaped. Maybe they clean it up and get it together and just smack the Bears around as they're supposed to do based on this line. But man, at more than a touchdown, I'll take the points.
What if I told you Lions -2? Could the Lions win the game by a field goal?
Yes, and I think there's a very good chance they do. But again, Matt, your rule about the division, like I think that applies here.
It does. It applies.
Scary,
but there's like no options in the early window. These are all divisional games.
Right.
Like Pittsburgh, Cleveland is a divisional game. Tennessee, Jacksonville, divisional game. Chicago, Detroit, divisional game. So like I'm gonna have to probably violate. This is not a survivor pick per se, but I may have to go up and hope that these home favorites can cover if you pull it down under a field goal. The game that I think is going to be the biggest lopsided game of the day, I think Vegas is going to get absolutely annihilated by the Miami Dolphins today. I don't lay 14 points, so I'm not doing it. I'm hoping for a slow start, or maybe even the Raiders score first, and I get like an 8 or a 9, and then because I don't see how through 4 quarters the Dolphins don't put up 30 points themselves today. Who do you like today, Dolphins, Ravens?
And it's funny that, I liked it better when it was 10.5 or whatever it was earlier in the week, which was kind of strange. So I did hit Miami when they were that low. It does make me a little nervous that the Raiders have looked so rejuvenated since getting rid of Josh McDaniels. Like they're playing hard for Antonio Pierce and just sort of playing free and loose. But man, like you've got a day 3 rookie draft pick at quarterback going into play Miami, which we know can put up tons of points and just score at will. And they get Devon Achane back at running back this week. So, at 14, I don't really want to play it. Like it's just, it leaves the back door open late in the game. And just, I don't love the total on this one either. So not really betting this. The bet I like here is Josh Jacobs over 65.5 rushing yards, because in the 2 games the Raiders have played since they fired Josh McDaniels, Josh Jacobs has 53 carries. Like they're just pounding him, and Miami ranks, I think, 26th in DVOA against the run. So it just seems like they're going to feed Josh Jacobs, and he's going to go over this total pretty easily.
Yeah, I like it. I have 2 props in this game too, because I think the return of Achane actually gives Raheem Mostert some more opportunities, because when they can do their motion and they can do the misdirection, it becomes more difficult for defenses. And Mostert when Achane was out there, Mostert was awesome. He had big runs, he had big opportunities. So I like him over his rushing yards today, over 52.5 rushing yards for Raheem Mostert. And then kind of correlated with the fact that I think this is a blowout, I think Aiden O'Connell over 31.5 passing attempts. I know you were talking about giving the ball a lot to Josh Jacobs, but if they're down, like I think they're going to be down in the second half, they're going to throw the ball. They're going to have to. They have no choice. They're going to be down, I think, 21 points in this game pretty quickly. And so I just think they're going to have to pass. He threw 27 times last week. Even that was with giving the ball a lot to Josh Jacobs. I think he's just going to have to throw the ball a lot more, just because they're going to be behind here. So I'm going to go over 31.5 passing attempts for Aiden O'Connell. Do you think Pierce gets the job? Do you think that if he beats the Dolphins today, he'd be the first coach to ever win his first 3 games, replacing another coach midseason in the history of the NFL? No one has opened 3-0.
Yeah, if he finishes out strong, if they only lose like 1 or 2 more games the rest of the way, I could see Mark Davis giving him the job, because it does seem like Mark Davis is like maybe more of an emotional owner than some other guys who would be cool, and I think there's a chance.
I do too,
especially with just how hard they've played for him. Like the difference between the Raiders and the team performance and how like potent this team has looked before and after McDaniels is just such a stark difference.
And he let it leak, and I think on purpose. He let it leak to the local media that he regretted not hiring Rich Bisaccia when he took the team after firing John Gruden. He took the team to the playoffs. He's let it out that like, I regretted not hiring Rich Bisaccia as head coach, because I could have had maybe some more stability. Instead, I went for the shiny toy and it didn't work. So I think he let that leak out for a reason, because I think he wants to give it to Antonio Pierce. If he does well, He's 2-0 so far. And even if they lose by a touchdown or 10 points, if they cover today, I think that's a win for Antonio Pierce, just because I think if it was McDaniels going down there, they'd lose by 40. So I'm impressed. I'm very curious to see what the defense looks like today for the Raiders, because if they get gashed and it's same old, then okay, it was the Jets and the Giants at home, and that's why they look different. It wasn't that the team was better, is that they're playing two of the worst teams in the NFL, and that's why the Raiders looked the way that they looked. All right, to the late slate we go, and man, San Francisco, it's up to 13.5. Some books are going to 14. The total is 42. We're laying 14.5 points, or 14 points, with a total at 42, Pat. This is not good for Tampa Bay in terms of what the books at least think that the offense will do for Tampa on the road here. Can you lay this big of a number with the Niners?
I don't want to lay this big of a number with the Niners, man, especially like with some of the defensive leaks that they sprung during their losing streak before they got everything together against the Jaguars last week. But is it me, Matt, or does this total seem low to you? Like I know
the question is Tampa's offense, right? What are they going to do against this defense for going across the country? Last week, Jaguars couldn't do anything at home against this Niners team off of a bye. They lost 3 straight weeks. They go to Jacksonville. They blow the doors off the Jags. Now they come home. The Bucs are going cross country. How many points does Baker Mayfield score? I think the thought is it's like a 30-7 win for the Niners. That's what the numbers are telling us. I don't know. If you get more, if you get 14 points out of the Bucs, we're going over, because I'm pretty confident that the San Fran's going to score on Tampa pretty heavily.
Yeah, so I think so too. And it's just a matter of whether the 49ers defense can make the Bucs offense completely inoperable. And like, I don't know if they can. I mean, yes, they have a great pass rush, and adding Chase Young makes it that much better. But they've had some issues in the back end with pass coverage. And, now they've got to deal with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. The run defense has not been as impregnable as it has been the last couple of years. And the Bucs have a pretty decent running back in Rachaad White. So like, I feel like the Bucs are going to do enough to push this game over. And I think the 49ers are going to put up a lot of points. So I don't feel confident about any over this year, Matt. It's been an under kind of year, but I do like the over in this one.
So the Matthew Stafford return for the Rams has flipped this number from the road Seahawks -2.5 to the Rams at home now -1.5. I guess Stafford's worth 3 points, but that's a lot of points in my mind to flip it here for a team that, yes, Stafford's the better quarterback than anything else they got on that roster, but that defense for the Rams is still not good. Total's 46 now in this one. Can Seattle go in there and win? Because this is a very weird division in terms of consistency. Like, the Rams always beat the Cardinals, and the Niners always beat the Cardinals, and the Seattle Seahawks always beat the Cardinals. What about Seattle beating the Rams?
I still kind of think Seattle's the better team, man.
Right?
What about you?
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. This number flip doesn't make me. It makes me like Seattle more than I'm getting points now.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I kind of like them on the money line.
And that's not bad. Let's see what the price is. Seattle on the money line. Let's see. My book doesn't want to change the money line, but you would get a good price. I mean, you'll probably get somewhere plus 110, plus 120.
Yeah.
Get plus money on Seattle for sure. I like Seattle too. Rams they're mediocre, which is where you don't want to be in the NFL. They're not awful. They're not good. So it's like,
and it seems like the whole adjustment too on this game, Matt, just seems odd. Like the spike in the total too. Like Matthew Stafford, I think, has more than one touchdown pass in only one game this year. And it's not like I feel great about the Rams running game with Darrell Henderson, who's averaged like 2.3 yards a carry in his last 2 games. And the line spike in this one just seems really strange to me.
I'm with you. Seattle. Jets against the Buffalo Bills. I laid 7 with Buffalo. Number is now 8.5. Some books are now at 9 here. We're seeing a lot of movement, a lot of money coming in here on Buffalo. Do you agree the Bills are the right side?
Oh, Matt, we got to be on opposite sides of this one. Like, I feel like the Jets are always able to turn this into like a mud wrestling match
Yep.
with the Bills. And we saw it in week 1, 22-16, even after Rodgers gets hurt. The Jets are able to pull out the victory. Last year, the Jets won the first game 20-17, and second meeting 20-12, the Bills won. So, like, I feel like this one's destined to be a one-score game again. So I can't lay the big points with Buffalo.
No, I think I laid 7. I would not lay 7.5. I wouldn't leave 8.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave 8.5. Absolutely not. But the 7, I just think there's a real opportunity that the Bills come out, and Ken Dorsey getting fired, to me, I like betting on teams that fire coaches, in particular, good teams that fire coaches, because there's a chance to have that team, circle the wagons, not to steal the pun, but really get after it and say, you know what, guys, like, it's go time. Like, we can't fool around anymore. And Zach Wilson's horrific. And I bet Zach Wilson throw a pick in this game at -140. That's my prop bet in this game. I just think this Bills defense has been so maligned. The perfect anecdote: the Raiders defense looked good against this Jets offense. At home, I cannot see this Jets team keeping this game all that close within 7 points. So to me, I'm like, look, I'm going to lay the 7. It may push. Very well could be, similar 20-13 type final, somewhere in that type of range. Josh Allen just needs to stop turning the football over. Just stop turning the football over. Take the little stuff. Don't go for the home run. Don't put the ball in jeopardy. Don't try to squeeze it into a tight window. You can beat the Jets without having to be a hero. That's my hope. No pick for Josh Allen. My number's covering. He throws a pick, I'm real nervous. I'm going to be very concerned about the Jets covering the 7 points, even with now me getting the best number, 8.5 or 9. That scares me. I don't mind teasing this. You want to tease it down? I don't mind that. Bills to 3. I don't mind that play, but man alive. Buffalo, are they going to make the playoffs?
Oh, man. I think they are, now that the Bengals are going to crash and burn with no Joe Burrow. Yeah. Like, I think that sort of frees up a spot for Buffalo to sneak in. So, yeah, I think they're going to rally and, get in it probably 10-7.
Unbelievable. 10-7. It's crazy because the Bills and the Bengals are both, Bengals are dead. Bills are on life support if they lose this game today. Their schedule is absolutely brutal.
It would be a catastrophic loss for sure.
This is a revenge spot. I hate calling a game in week 11 a must win, but it almost is when you're given the schedule, what they've got. They've got the Chiefs and the Eagles and the Cowboys next.
Oh, right.
Those are 3 games. They may be dogs in all 3 of those games.
Yeah.
So you got to take care of business at home, and you got to beat the Jets. If you don't, that's real bad news from a playoff perspective. And then finally, Sunday night, Minnesota is at Denver. I've got 2 plays on this. I've taken the Vikings up to 9. This is the other side of my own personal teaser, where I'm taking the Steelers up to 8.5. I'm taking the Vikings up to 9. And I like the under 42 here in this one, continuing that Sunday night trend of unders. We see points like the Broncos to win here on Sunday night.
Oh, man. So I'm leaning here towards the Vikings a little bit, Matt. I haven't bet this one. I don't know if I can. Like, both of these 2 teams are on kind of an upswing, and it just seems like everything has been really positive for the Vikings lately. Their defense has been playing much better than expected under Brian Flores. I think, for all the enthusiasm about Josh Dobbs, like the quiet upgrades the Vikings have made on the defensive side, I think are almost like the bigger story and the reason why I'm tempted to back them in this game. But boy, the Broncos, what they did against the Bills was really impressive too. Now they're coming home. I know they've laid some eggs at home this year. So yeah, if you were going to force me to bet this one, I would be betting purple here. Yeah. But
I would wait too. Mike is asking what to do with the 2.5. I would wait to see if it gets to 3. And if you get 3, it's the most expensive thing to buy in the book, to go from 2.5 to 3. They're going to charge you either between $130 or $140, depending on the book, to get that half a point, because it's the most valuable half a point in betting. But you might get it. There might be enough money coming in here on Denver that you may just get the 3, and you may be able to just wait and grab it, or in game wait and grab it at 3 with the Vikings. At 2.5, I get to cross 3 and I get to cross 7, which is on both games, both the Steelers game and the Vikings game. I get to do that. So those are two huge key numbers I get to cross with the teaser. So that's why I like doing it. And Josh Dobbs is going to come back down to earth, I think. But so I think we're selling high on the Broncos offense after what happened last week. So I'm cool with kind of like kicking out going, I'm good. I don't need to worry so much about what's going on offensively for the Broncos, because like you mentioned, that Vikings defense should keep it in check. And then we're at altitude, we're outside. I don't know. I'm not sure how many points but the Vikings will score against the Broncos here tonight. So that's why I like the under 42, which is, I think we're now 11-1 or 12-1 the last 13 games on Sunday night and Monday night to the under. So it's Thursday's been going over. Thursday night flew over with the Ravens and the Bengals. That's the game we want to take out of the equation when it comes to primetime unders. Thursdays have been pretty, hit or miss, 50-50 on the over. Monday, Sunday has been no offense.
Matt, some of our people in the chat are pointing out that Vikings Denver has moved to Vikings +3 on DraftKings and FanDuel.
Beautiful. All right, that's great. There it is. Thank you on DraftKings. They went first. They're above South Point, Superbook, and nobody in Vegas is at 3. So that's good. If you have access to DraftKings, you can grab the 3 already. Thank you. I appreciate that. Nobody else in the world's at 3, by the way. They're the only ones. DK's the only one who are making it 3. So they've clearly seen enough money to go, all right, we're going to 3. Vegas doesn't agree yet. As of right now, Las Vegas is not following suit with that. And I think they know the pros will come in pretty heavy on the Vikings if they get +3. So if you got access to 3, I think you bet the Vikings now. I don't think 3 will last. How about that? Now that it's at 3, that's a flash. It might be down pretty quick because the pros are going to go, okay, there's an off number, an off market number, and the most expensive move, 2.5 to 3, to jump on Minnesota. I do have one more prop that I skipped over. I apologize. I like Calvin Ridley to get going here against Jacksonville. I just think the Titans defense, they don't do well against wide receivers, and Ridley wasn't good last week. He was like, the whole offense, I think, needs to get going for Jacksonville. How do you feel about Ridley getting back involved?
I hope. Yeah. Man, he has been a hard guy to predict, Matt. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. The weird thing is he has done better with Zay Jones in the lineup than without. It's kind of counterintuitive. You would think like the target spillover would help Ridley with Zay Jones out of the lineup. Not the case. So early in the season when Zay Jones was healthy, Ridley had some of his better games. So maybe that rejuvenates him this week.
All right. I'm going to do it. My Wong teaser for this before we get out of here. I'm going to take Green Bay to 9. I'm going to go up, and you can potentially see 2.5s that are a couple, one book in the country is at 2.5, but 3 mostly everywhere else for Green Bay. I'm going to take Packers +9, and then I'm going to pull the Lions down. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the -2, and I'm going to have to ride Detroit here against Chicago and hope the Bears keep on being the Bears, even with Justin Fields coming back. It is scary. I'm not going to lie. It is, but maybe they win by 3. So you cover and I cover, and we're all good. So I shoot the middle and hit them both. But you can try that too. You can bet both if you want to get a little frisky. You can take the 8 or 8.5, and then tease it down and do the Wong teaser if you want. But this fits it both into a Wong teaser, and I think it's just a good teaser because you're crossing key numbers there. But Packers against the Chargers at +9, and the Lions against the Bears at -2 here. I will jump on that. Pat, anything else we missed on your card today?
No, that's it. A couple of props I like. Josh Dobbs under 220.5 passing yards. He threw for season high 268 yards last week against the Saints, but he has failed to clear this number in 6 of his other 8 games this year, averaging just 6.0 yards per attempt. He does not get Justin Jefferson back this week. And, Denver's pass defense has not been bad lately. Held Josh Allen to 177 yards last week, and Patrick Mahomes to 240 passing yards a couple weeks ago. So I think the under there is the right play. Another under, I like Darrell Henderson, under 40.5 rushing yards. He's been splitting work with Royce Freeman. And over the last 2 weeks, Henderson has 22 carries for 50 yards, 2.3 yards per carry. He's just not that good. And going up against the Seattle defense that has allowed the 11th fewest rushing yards to running backs. So did I have one more? And CeeDee Lamb. like
No.
over 82.5 receiving yards. I mean, the Cowboys have been making this concerted effort to get Lamb the ball, and why should they change that when the passing game has just exploded lately? His target totals in his last 3 games, 14, 16, and 14, and he has averaged 154.3 yards per game during that stretch. So I know the Panthers haven't been giving it up to wide receivers, and that's just mainly because everyone likes to run against the Panthers, but I think Lamb's going to clear this pretty easily.
And I skipped that over that game. That's my fault. On my board, I skipped it. Dallas at Carolina. The number's 11 now, 43 and a half on this one. Do you subscribe to the idea that Dallas on the road is not the same team at all, so they can't be laying double digits, that the Panthers are the side here?
Not really. I mean, we saw them, like I know it was a long time ago, but way back in week 1, they just pounded the Giants in that Sunday night opener, and they've done really well as big favorites. They're 3-1 when they're favored by 6 or more this year. Like, other than the unexpected toe stubbing against the Cardinals back in week 3, like they've done a pretty good job of taking out the trash whenever they're against a lesser opponent.
Yeah, this is much like the Miami game where I'm going to watch this and I want to see an in-game number if I can. Like, it would be phenomenal if the Panthers got the ball first and scored. Number comes down. I want under 10 if possible. But I mean, last week, you're right. When the Cowboys tend to win, when they're big favorites, they don't put any doubt out there. I mean, they're winning gigantically, killing the Patriots, killing the Giants, killing the Raiders. Like, they're going to kill. It looks like they're going to kill the Panthers today. So do you think Dallas is a legitimate contender for the Super Bowl?
I actually do, Matt.
I do too. No, I do too. I do. I hate Dak. I don't like Dak, but I do too. I watch the team and I'm like, how are they not one of the top 4 teams in the NFC? I mean, the numbers say that they are. I think that they are.
I mean, my only fear with them is like they've already lost, Trayvon Diggs and now Leighton Vander Esch. Like, I just worry that defense is so good when it's like fully manned up. And if they lose, any more on that side of the ball, I just wonder if they're going to be a special defense anymore.
Yeah. All right. Before we go, I'll just give you this opportunity. You have a play on Monday night? Everyone's talking about it. It's Taylor Swift will not be there, boys and girls. So put your Travis Kelce nonsense away. She's not there. Parents might be there, but no T Swift for Eagles Chiefs. You like a side?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the Eagles on the money line. You're with me on that one, Matt?
Yay. Everyone's on the Chiefs. And I'm like, really, guys? Everyone's on the Chiefs, huh? Okay. All right.
Yeah. By the way, Matt, can I just pitch one thing before we go?
Of course.
If you guys are into betting college football, and you should pay a visit to the BettingPros YouTube channel later today, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, for a special college football early lines live stream with our own Thor Nystrom, Chris Welsh, and Eric Froton.
Nice.
It's going to be an epic week of college football, highlighted, of course, by that Ohio State-Michigan game that everyone's going to be watching. And Thor, Welsh, and Froton are going to break it all down. So check out the BettingPros YouTube channel today at 4:30 p.m. Eastern.
If Florida State wins out, do they deserve to be in to the playoffs?
Oh, man. Yeah, like, I think they deserve it, but whether they will get it now or not, like, you just wonder how much the injury would influence the selection committee.
Oh, it's going to give them every opportunity to leave them out. I mean, it gives them every. This is the biggest break for the committee to leave an undefeated ACC team out and put Alabama in. I mean, the door is just so open for the Crimson Tide. It's unreal. This is going to be such an interesting 2 weeks because I have a 10-1 on Michigan and I have a 10-1 on Florida State. And I'm just like, they both might miss the playoffs.
The Noles fans would have every right to be furious if they were undefeated and got left out of the playoffs.
What if they go and get annihilated? What if they put them as a 4 seed and they play up against Georgia and they lose by 40? I mean, everyone's like, that's why they can't score. I mean, Jordan Travis was incredible. I mean, it's such a bummer that's what's going on. So yeah, guys, tune into that 4:30 Eastern time on the BettingPros YouTube channel. That would be a lot of fun to watch these huge games all over the country coming up for Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and on Saturday in college football. Also, while we're here, you guys download the BettingPros app. It is free to do so. It's available wherever you guys get your app store, Google Play. Sync and track your bets. You get to view performance across sports, bet types, and books. You can follow users who are hot. You can tail their bets or fade their bets if you want. You can see how your instincts are stacking up against others as well. Download the BettingPros app. You can seamlessly track all your sports books, all your bets in one app in just 1 minute. Download the BettingPros app, either in the App Store or Google Play today. Pat, good stuff, my friend. Best of luck on your plays. I appreciate the time. We're back next week for a week 12. Best of luck to all you guys. I'll see you guys in the Discord channel. If you haven't been there, bettingpros.com/chat for that. For Pat, I'm Matt. Back next week here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel.